In a forgotten corner of an ancient town, hidden behind ivy-draped walls, stood the moonlit library. Its stone facade glowed faintly under the silver light of the moon, as if the building itself was woven from starlight. Inside, endless shelves stretched toward a vaulted ceiling, each book humming with stories older than the hills. The library was tended by an elderly keeper named Clara, whose silver hair shimmered like the moonlight she cherished. Every night, she lit a single candle, its flame casting golden flickers across the room, inviting the stories to come alive. Clara believed the library was alive, its books whispering secrets when the world grew quiet. She moved softly through the aisles, her footsteps muffled by the plush, emerald-green carpet that seemed to absorb all sound. The air smelled of aged paper, lavender, and a hint of distant rain, a scent that wrapped visitors in calm. On one particular night, as the moon hung low, Clara noticed a book she'd never seen before, its cover a deep indigo with silver constellations etched across it. It seemed to pulse gently, as if calling to her. She opened the book, and a soft breeze stirred the pages, carrying the scent of a faraway meadow. The story within told of a weary traveler, a soul who wandered through endless nights seeking a place to rest. The traveler, named Aloan, had crossed deserts and forests, her heart heavy with the weight of her journeys. Under a full moon, she stumbled upon a library much like Clara's, where the books sang lullabies of forgotten dreams. Aloan sat among them, her eyelids growing heavy as the stories wove a tapestry of peace around her, each word a thread of starlight. Clara, reading by her candle, felt her own heart slow, matching the rhythm of the tale. She imagined Aloan finding solace, her breath mingling with the library's quiet hum. The moonlight poured through the stained glass windows, painting the floor with colors of sapphire and amethyst. Clara's candle flickered, and the library seemed to sigh, as if it too were falling asleep. She closed the book, her fingers lingering on its cover, and settled into her armchair, the story's warmth wrapping her like a soft blanket. Outside, the moon watched over the town, its light a gentle promise of rest, and Clara drifted into dreams where stories danced under starlit skies. Across a vast, shimmering sea, on a windswept island where gulls called softly to the dawn, stood a solitary lighthouse perched atop a jagged cliff. Its weathered stones were kissed by salt spray, and its beacon glowed with a golden warmth that pierced the darkest nights. The lighthouse was home to Alara, an old lantern keeper whose eyes sparkled like the sea under sunlight. Her days were spent tending the light, polishing its great glass lens until it shone like a captured star. She loved the rhythm of her work, the creak of the spiral stairs, the scent of oil and brine, the endless song of the waves below. Each evening, Alara climbed the winding stairs, her lantern casting shadows that danced like gentle spirits on the walls. The lighthouse's beams swept across the sea, a golden ribbon guiding ships through the velvet night. Alara would sit by the great window, her hands warmed by a mug of chamomile tea, watching the waves glitter under the moon. The sea's rhythm was her lullaby, each crash a note in a melody older than time. She often wondered about the sailors who followed her light, picturing their dreams of distant shores and quiet harbors. One stormy night, When the sky churned with clouds as dark as charcoal, Alara lit the beacon with extra care, her hand steady despite the wind's howl. Far on the horizon, she spotted a faint glow, like a star adrift on the waves. As it drew closer, she saw a small boat, its sails tattered, carrying a young sailor named Finn. His face was weary but kind, his eyes reflecting the lighthouse's glow. Ilara's light had guided him through the tempest, and when he reached the shore, he climbed the cliff to thank her, his voice soft as the fading storm. Ilara welcomed Finn into the lighthouse, where the fire crackled in a small hearth, filling the room with warmth. Over cups of steaming tea, they shared stories, Finn of bustling ports and coral reefs, Ilara of the lighthouse's history, its light a constant through centuries of storms. As the night deepened, the storm quieted, and stars peeked through the clouds. Finn slept by the fire, wrapped in a woolen blanket, while Ilara sat by her lantern, its glow a quiet promise of safety. The sea's song wove through her dreams, and she drifted to sleep, the lighthouse standing sentinel over the world's gentle rhythm. Deep within an ancient forest, where moonlight wove through tangled branches, lay the starlit garden, a hidden sanctuary behind gates draped in silver ivy. The garden was a tapestry of glowing flowers, luminous lilies, soft lavender, and roses that shimmered like opals under the stars. Its air was thick with the scent of jasmine and earth, a fragrance that felt like a sigh of the night itself. The garden belonged to Theo, an old gardener whose hands were rough from years of tending the earth, yet gentle as he coaxed each bloom to life. He believed every flower held a fragment of the cosmos, a spark of starlight caught in its petals. Each evening, Theo wandered the garden's winding paths, his lantern casting a soft golden glow that mingled with the flowers' radiance. The petals seemed to hum, a faint melody that blended with the rustle of leaves and the distant call of an owl. One night, as the moon hung low, a silver-furred fox slipped through the gate, its eyes like twin moons. Theo watched, enchanted, as it moved with grace, sniffing the glowing blooms. Instead of chasing it away, he sat on a moss-covered bench, the stone cool beneath him, and let the fox explore, its presence a quiet gift. The fox returned nightly, and Theo began to see it as a guardian of the garden's magic. He imagined it carried messages from the stars, its paws leaving no trace on the dew-kissed grass. One evening, the fox led Theo to a hidden alcove where a new flower bloomed, a radiant star bloom, its petals pulsing with light brighter than the moon. Theo knelt beside it, his breath catching at its beauty, believing it held the heart of a fallen star. The garden felt alive, its glow a symphony of peace, and the fox curled nearby, its soft breaths blending with the night's hum. As Theo sat by the star bloom, the garden's light wrapped around him like a warm embrace. The flowers swayed gently, their glow dancing with the stars above, and the air felt heavy with serenity. Theo's eyelids grew heavy, his heart slowing to match the garden's rhythm. The fox's presence was a quiet comfort, and as Theo drifted to sleep, he dreamed of starlit paths where flowers sang and the night held him close, a world where peace bloomed eternal. Nestled in a quiet valley, where mist curled like soft ribbons over the hills, lay the Silver Lake, a mirror of water that glowed under the moon's gentle gaze. Its surface was so still it seemed to hold the stars themselves, each ripple a whisper of the night. The lake was tended by an old fisherman named Torin, whose weathered hands knew every curve of its shore. His small wooden cottage sat at the water's edge, its windows aglow with the warm flicker of a single lantern, casting golden light that danced with the lake's silver sheen. Each evening, Torin rowed his small boat across the lake, the oars dipping silently into the water, creating ripples that shimmered like liquid starlight. The air was cool, scented with pine and the faint sweetness of wildflowers that bloomed along the banks. Torin loved these moments when the world felt hushed and the lake seemed to breathe with him. One night, as the moon hung low, a soft glow appeared beneath the water, like a pearl buried in the depths. Curious, Torin leaned over the boat's edge, watching as the light pulsed gently, as if alive. The glow, he realized, came from a tiny fish, its scales shimmering with every color of the night sky. The fish swam in slow circles, leaving trails of light that faded like dreams. Torin followed it, his boat gliding effortlessly, and the fish led him to a hidden cove where the water was clearer than glass. There, the lake seemed to sing, a soft, melodic hum that wrapped around him like a lullaby. The fish darted close, its light brushing Torin's hand, and he felt a warmth, as if the lake was sharing a secret. Torin returned to his cottage that night, the lake's song lingering in his heart. He sat by his lantern, watching the waters glow through his window, and felt the world settle into a gentle rhythm. The stars above mirrored the lake below, and the fish's light became a story he carried into his dreams. As Torin's eyes grew heavy, the lake's quiet hum wove through his thoughts, guiding him to a sleep where he drifted on starlit waters, cradled by the night's embrace. High atop a rolling hill, where the wind carried the scent of clover and dew, stretched the Velvet Meadow, a sea of soft grass that swayed under the twilight sky. The meadow was a haven of peace, its blades glowing faintly with the last light of day, as if kissed by the stars. It was tended by a young weaver named Leora, whose fingers wove blankets from the meadow's wildflowers, each thread infused with the scent of the earth. Her small tent, pitched under an ancient oak, glowed with the light of a single candle, its flame steady in the evening breeze. Leora walked the meadow each night, her bare feet sinking into the cool grass, her hands brushing the petals of daisies and lavender that bloomed in endless waves. The meadow seemed to hum, a soft vibration that matched the rhythm of her breath. One evening, as the sky deepened to indigo, a gentle rustle caught her attention. A small hare, its fur as silver as the moon, hopped through the grass, its eyes bright with curiosity. Leora smiled, sitting cross-legged on the ground, and watched as the hare nibbled at a clover blossom. The hare returned each night, and Leora began to see it as a companion, a quiet guardian of the meadow's secrets. She wove a tiny blanket for it, threading starlight into the fabric, and left it under the oak. One night, the hare led her to a hidden glade where the grass glowed brighter, and a single flower stood at its center, a moonflower, its petals unfurling like a sigh. The air was thick with its perfume, a scent that felt like a memory of peace. Leora lay beside it, the hair curling nearby, and the meadow's hum became a song that wrapped her in warmth. As Leora gazed at the stars, The meadow's glow seemed to blend with the sky, creating a tapestry of light. Her breathing slowed, matching the rhythm of the wind, and the candle in her tent flickered softly, casting shadows that danced like dreams. The hare's quiet presence was a comfort, and Leora drifted to sleep. Her dreams filled with endless meadows where flowers sang, and the night held her close, a world of gentle serenity. Far above the earth, where the sky stretched like an endless canvas, lived Eloria, the cloud weaver, a gentle spirit who crafted clouds from the dreams of the world below. Her home was a floating garden of mist, where wisps of vapor swirled in patterns only she could see. Each night, Eloria sat at her loom, a delicate frame of starlight, weaving clouds that glowed with the soft hues of twilight, blues, pinks, and silvers that drifted across the heavens. The air in her garden was cool and fragrant, scented with the faint tang 6:30 of rain and the sweetness of distant blossoms. Eloria's fingers moved with grace, threading dreams into her clouds, each one a story of hope or rest. She loved watching the world below, where children gazed at her creations, seeing shapes of dragons or ships in the sky. One night, as she wove a cloud shaped like a crescent moon, a small bird, its wings dusted with stardust, landed on her loom. Its eyes sparkled, and it chirped a melody that felt like a lullaby. Eloria welcomed the bird, letting it perch on her shoulder as she worked. The bird seemed to guide her hands, and the clouds she wove that night were softer, their edges glowing with a warmth that lit the sky. The bird led her to a corner of her garden where a new mist bloomed, shimmering like a pearl. Eloria wove it into a cloud so light it seemed to float forever, carrying the bird's song to the world below. People looked up, their hearts easing as the cloud drifted over, its glow a promise of peace. As Eloria sat by her loom, the bird's melody wove through her thoughts, blending with the hum of the sky. The stars twinkled above, their light mingling with her clouds, and the garden felt alive with quiet magic. Eloria's eyes grew heavy, her hands resting on the loom, and she drifted to sleep, dreaming of skies where clouds danced and birds sang, a world where the night was a soft, endless embrace.